I'm going to talk about ways to improve your cellular aging. And this first picture here is a picture of a normal cell and then what's called a senescent cell. Basically, a senescent cell is an abnormal cell that it's a cell that's been damaged, the DNA was damaged, and it no longer can produce whatever it produces. It just doesn't function. And the scientific term for that is senescence. So these are cells that stop replicating, but they don't die. They can build up in the body and contribute to the body getting sick as it's aging. Naturally, when you're aging, your cells will, just normal cells that stop functioning, they ought to die and your body ought to slough it off, and then you don't have this problem of senescent cells. Okay, so some people actually, just to give you some sense of this, will call senescent cells zombie cells. And of course that's not a scientific term, but it's a practical term because senescent cells do act like zombies. They act like they're brain dead and they won't die. So just like zombies. So how do we handle that? That's what this blog post is about. Now, when cells get old and cease to function and don't die, they become these senescent cells and they give off these secretions which trigger inflammation. And so how this happens, how they get damaged in the first place, we ought to talk about that for a second. You have oxidation, which is free radical damage that happens within the cell. And other stresses also can happen from lack of sleep or improper nutrition and dehydration, things like that. Now the cell becomes damaged internally and causes the cell to malfunction or stop functioning altogether. And it kind of turns a switch off, like, so to speak. And but if that damage doesn't kill the cell and the cell is still alive, it's becoming this zombie-like senescence cell. And these damaged cells tend to damage others around them, making them zombies too, quote unquote. All right, now the body reacts to the damaged, inactivated cells. And it's not just that they're inactive. It causes inflammation and the cells accumulate, causing more inflammation and pain, arthritis, and further deterioration of the body. And it's hard to slough these off because they're not dead. So the body's not recognizing them as being invaders or dead cells, and it's harder to slough those off. And in the scientific community, the senescent cells have a senescence-associated secretory phenotype, SASP for short. And a phenotype, by the way, is just a set of observable traits and characteristics about something. So the traits and characteristics that are observable about senescent cells is that they're not just dormant. They secrete high levels of inflammatory elements, and that can lead to chronic inflammation, which can in turn underlie things like cancer and other age-related diseases. And this is a tested fact that a number of senescent cells in people increases with age. Also, the immune system and other body functions become less effective the more senescent cells you have. So now what can you do about this? Cellular senescence is associated with things like Alzheimer's, cancer, arthritis, stroke, diabetes, osteoporosis, cardiovascular disease, and even declining eyesight. So there are people obviously researching answers. Big pharma answers to this is producing drugs which have been developed, and these drugs are called senolytics, and they target senescent cells and kill them, basically. Now, short of using drugs, which is never my answer, I prefer to do things naturally myself, there are natural answers. And drinking hydrogen water is at the top of the list. The reason is hydrogen itself can act as a antioxidant and go in and repair aged, damaged cells that are non-functioning, and by repairing them, now they begin being normal again and functioning. And the research, there's quite a lot of research in the last, let's say, 15 years on this. Dr. Ohta, O-H-T-A, is a big one in research on this. And let me see if I can pull up his article. This is one of Dr. Ohta's articles, Molecular Hydrogen as a Preventative and Therapeutic Medical Gas. And here's another one of Dr. Ohta's using hydrogen in medicine, basically. He has quite a lot. There's no way I can show you all, and there's other researchers as well that have been doing a lot of research in this, since it is harmless. There are no toxicities, there's nothing harmful, and it's inexpensive. And so that might not be popular with big pharma, but it's inexpensive to bring these cells back to normal functioning with hydrogen acting as this natural antioxidant. Now, hydrogen can be breathed as a gas, and I have tried that. It's not bad. I don't prefer it because I'm not the kind of person that likes to sit there and inhale a gas. I mean, you have to sit there for 20 minutes or whatever. And actually, hydrogen has been found to, when you drink it in hydrogen water, either using a hydrogen water machine, or a water ionizer, either one will make hydrogen in the water. And to drink it like that, the hydrogen can get into your body and literally last for days, even though it normally would just evaporate if you let the glass of hydrogen water sit out in the open. But once it's in the body, it goes to work, and that hydrogen can go in and donate an electron to the damaged DNA. And another thing about hydrogen is it's lipid soluble, fat soluble, in other words. And you need that in order to get past the cell membrane and into the cell and into the DNA to give it its antioxidant. So it selectively will only target damaged cells, and it just ignores and doesn't do anything with healthy cells. And so that's one of Dr. Ota's studies with hydrogen, is that it selectively targets. And so there's no such thing with hydrogen as overdosing on it or hitting some kind of toxicity levels with it. And it is important at this point to note that breathing or drinking hydrogen water is not a cure. It does return senescent cells to normal functioning, but it's not going to make you go from being 70 years old to being 20 years old. And that is not going to happen, unfortunately. But it, as you age, you naturally want to stay healthy and active and vivacious, and there's no reason why you should have allergies and sicknesses and arthritis and can't walk anymore or can't move even. All these things are, I have found, to be very unnecessary. And when you drink hydrogen water or ionized water, that I have found that to personally help me quite a lot. I've even found when I'm drinking hydrogen water or ionized water, I have I guess a familial genetic tendency to have spider veins, but they've never developed. Whereas family members have had to get surgeries and all these things. But with me, I've been drinking ionized water, and I can actually watch my spider veins disappear while I'm drinking ionized water. It's really a pretty amazing sight. And so that's basically it. You can do your own search on senescent cells and the research on hydrogen water and see for yourself that this is quite an impressive subject and something that I believe should be spread around so people can know about this. It's important. Visit the link below this video to view the blog post.